lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on.
Atlanta put on a great race with a lot of fun 2 weeks ago, but tonight we come to a completely different style racetrack, a short concrete racetrack known as the Nashville Superspeedway for the Team GAIA 400 for the Svenska eRacingligan. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Alongside me, my broadcast partners, Tony Trapasso and Jason Swafford. And Tony, we'll start with you first. A great race, great finish 2 weeks ago. This is another track that's going to provide a lot of close racing, but it's going to be a lot harder on the tires than Atlanta was 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely is, Frank. And, I don't think we could have asked for a better event than what we saw at Atlanta a couple weeks ago. But coming into Nashville, we kind of know what to expect, especially Jason and myself, as we broadcast. Jason, between the two of us together, have done like at least 4 here, if not more. And with this car package, there's going to have to be some give and take.
And Jason, we go from a big feeling 1.5-mile racetrack covered in asphalt at Atlanta to another 1.5-mile racetrack covered in concrete. It's going to be a completely different style of driving between the two racetracks because not just of the dimensions of Nashville Superspeedway, but because of the racing surfaces that these races are going to be run on.
Yeah, exactly. You said that Atlanta feels big. Nashville certainly doesn't feel so big. You're waiting to get on the throttle, especially when your tires are cooked deep into a run. You're just waiting. I don't have that patience.
Apologize for that. I turned the wrong chat channel off there. My apologies. We'll take a look now at the point standings here coming into tonight's race. Linus Broström currently holding an 8-point lead over Jonas Gunnarsson. Jesper Eriksson in the fight as well. Daniel Sollo, Michael Haflidason, your top 5. A couple of big movers. Vilda Whalen had a fantastic race 2 weeks ago, up 6 positions. Still very, very close in the point standings as we near the halfway point of the season.
We absolutely are, and just past the halfway mark, there's still a ton of racing left. There's still a ton of moves that can be made, especially with as tight as it is in your top 10 right now. This series is still wide open.
It absolutely is. We've only got about 5 or so seconds left before we go into the qualifying session here. And there's the flagman waving it off. Jason, qualifying here certainly going to be crucial at this rather tight, narrow racetrack. Very, very difficult to pass, especially as the tires get worn.
Yeah, definitely. This is one that you're going to want to lead from the front. There are many different tracks where drivers say, "Yeah, I'd just like to hang back until the last 50 or so laps." You're not really going to want to be doing that here because overtaking consistently, good luck.
It is going to be quite the difficult task, as here comes last week's winner, Eric Blixt. Or last race's winner, I should say, Eric Blixt, out on track. One of the first ones to try to attempt a time here. Kim Nyholm, Oscar Fredriksson, Johan Larsson out on track as well here for this 5-minute qualifying session. Almost everybody now jumping out onto the racing surface. Linus Broström, Tony Oivonen, Daniel Holmer, and Marcus Stiller, Jonas Skoglund, the only 5 that have not at least gotten onto pit road for this qualifying session, Tony.
I'm only waiting for the temperature to drop a little bit, considering how late in the day in sim that it is. They're waiting for the lights to actually be on, track to cool off a couple more degrees, so I don't think it's going to get much cooler than it is currently, before this session is going to be done and dusted.
Eric Blixt, fastest of all on the first lap attempt of qualifying here. As Blixt continuing to work his way through. And for Eric Blixt, he'll go a little bit quicker on his second lap. A 29.89 Kim Nyholm. Make it 29.89 for Jesper Eriksson. Up to the point for the number 37.
That's impressive. That is very impressive as Philip Carlin bangs the wall coming off of 2 to negate his second lap.
Trying to find somebody here who's on a flyer right now. Philip Bjork crossing the line right now in the 044, goes 16th fastest. Kenneth Tier working his way around now, as I believe that, you mentioned there, Jason, was Daniel Sollo going to the top at a 29.86.
Exactly that.
There was a cranker of a lap for him to pull that one off. But your points leader right now, Linus Broström, out on track, getting ready to take the green for his first flyer.
It's the 52 that we were just watching there on his lap a moment ago, as we now see Linus Broström in the 71. Tony Oivonen, 19th quickest on his first lap. Robert Eriksson, 17th quickest on his first attempt. See what happens with Broström here. And Broström will go 26th fastest, a 30.25 for the points leader.
Lap number 1. He's probably going to improve here on lap number 2. Matter of fact, he is. He's got a good head of steam coming down the back straight into 3.
Marcus Stiller is out on track. Negated his first lap by touching the wall. So all 37 drivers set to participate here tonight will take part in qualifying. And Linus Broström, a great time, just about evens Daniel Sollo in the 13.
1/1000th of a second separating first and second.
That is quite the margin.
That's a coat of paint.
Yeah, I would say. As Marcus Stiller calling an end to his second lap, so that will officially do it for the qualifying session here. And guys, Daniel Sollo, first pole of the season.
I'm surprised it took this long. He's
By the way,
shown. Go ahead.
Great job to get there. I mean, Linus Broström trying to spoil the party, but as we said, just about not getting it.
You know, with what we've seen out of Sollo in other series that you and I have covered, Jason, I say it. I'll say it again. I'm surprised it took him this long.
Yeah, I agree.
So we are now just about ready to go over into the heat race. The pole sitter for that will be Anton Broberg, and instead of giving you driver by driver, let's go to the grid here for this race. Anton Broberg will start on the pole here for the sprint race. Philip Bjork will sit in row number 2. Vilde Whalen and Johan Larsson will make up row number 2. Martin Liesnich and Robert Erling in row 3. Daniel Blomqvist and Michael Hagström will sit in row number 4. Row 5 will go to Kenneth Tier and Haflidi Johansson. Connie Lundell and Bjorn Broström will sit in row 6. Row 7 will see Emily Fagrell and Daniel Holmer. Philip Carlin and Marcus Hagman will make up row number 8, with Marcus Stiller sitting on row number 9, all by his lonesome, the only driver that did not set a lap time. So again, we had mentioned at the start of the broadcast, tonight's race is sponsored by Team GAIA, and both of their drivers currently in this sprint race. Vilde Whalen will start third in the number 29. There she is. And Emily Fagrell will start in 13th as we jump on board the number 4. So a little bit of extra airtime tonight for the Team GAIA girls.
Surprising. I mean, I'm looking at some of the names in this. You know, you've got Vilde Whalen, you've got Emily Fagrell, you've got Bjorn Broström, you've got Marcus Hagman, you've got Dan Holmer all in this murderer's row of a heat race. I mean, luckily everybody's going to move on to the A feature, but I mean, just some of the names that are having to run this heat race to line themselves up for the feature, it's shocking. It really is.
As we now roll out onto the racetrack to begin this heat race, this sprint race, Jason, what are you looking for here early?
Well, sprint race, so I guess everything's going to be early, but I
threw you off.
I don't know, really. Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, it's a sprint race, so we're going to be seeing hard racing either way. Hopefully it stays clean. Otherwise, it gets a bit awkward with cautions in such a short race, but
certainly will be the hope that we can stay clean for as long as we possibly can here in this sprint race. It's going to be a short one, but it will be a quick one. Anton Broberg on pole, in control of the field for the sprint race. Green flag in the air. Here we go.
Way up at the front of this piece is Whalen goes with Bradberg as she's now working the inside of the 044 of Philip York. Side by side after your leader, the leader started to pull away as Bradberg got a great jump on that start.
Scene still side by side between Philip York and the 044 on the outside. Vilda Whalen in the 29 on the inside. That's Martin Liesnich that has managed to clear, and the caution has come out towards the back of the field. It looks like Haflidi Johansson is backwards.
Yeah, that car is definitely pointing the wrong way on a one-way street.
Yeah, not the way you would want to be. As we'll take a look and see what happened here to that number 52. Pushed around by the 41, it looks like.
Oh yeah, he had a lot of help on that one.
Jump on board here with Bjorn Broström for this replay. That will settle that, Jason.
It will. It looks like there was a little bit of a helping hand from Netcode as well. But with the speed the 41 had, contact probably would have happened anyway.
Yeah, it just happened about 50 feet further up the track than it would have.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Haflidi, but that's how it goes sometimes, I guess. A few other drivers choosing to come into the pits as well. That's interesting.
Daniel Holmer and Marcus Hagman both joining the two cars involved in that incident. Marcus Stiller got some nose damage from that as well. So he will be, again, looking to increase his starting position a little bit. If you're joining us for the first time here, the 17 drivers competing in this race qualified 21st through 37th here for the main race tonight. And this race will determine where they start for that main race. Top 20 will be positioned based on their qualifying order. And 21 through the rest of the field. We'll get to race it out to see where they are, which I think, Jason, is quite a nice little change from what we're used to seeing.
People racing. No, but yeah, looking towards this restart, I think Anton Bradberg's going to be looking to do exactly the same thing that he did the last time. He managed to pull out probably about half a second's worth of gap before the caution came out, and I think Daniel Sollo was looking at that and taking notes.
So it'll be Bradberg and Bjork, which I'm sure Vilda Whalen is not that broken up about being able to start on the inside, Tony. It's certainly going to be where you want to lead the way from here tonight, as the outside line at a track like this, not really all that viable as an option.
Not really, at least not this early in the evening. You know, after the lights come on, they've got some rubber laid down in that second lane. Yeah, later into a tire run, yeah, it's going to pay some dividend. But this early going, you want to be on the bottom, maybe about a half hour width off of the apron is the ideal line performance here, regardless.
So will once again be the same top three in their same positions. Martin Liesnich getting a very good initial start, I should say, to this sprint race. Will start now fourth outside on that second row. Into the Geico restart zone they go, and Bradberg, an incredible jump. Vilda Whalen followed right through.
Whalen got the better of the restarts between herself and Bjork this time, as Bjork now falling back into the clutches of Liesnich. But right behind them, that's Larson and Bloomquist going after each other like two kids in the back of a minivan on summer vacation.
Daniel Bloomquist on the outside in the 487. Johan Larson on the inside. We're seeing some three-wide racing. We're seeing some guys fan out here, but still, Jason, showing just how difficult it is to try to get a move done around here as the two make contacts, go sideways, but Bloomquist keeps it straight, at least for the moment. Somehow only loses a couple spots as Johan Larsson gets punted away by the 61. That will bring out the caution.
That'll do it. Great initial save from Daniel Blomqvist, and then something happened ahead of him. I guess we'll see it.
Michael Hagström was the one that sent the 57 of Johan Larsson. And we'll see how this one transpired. Again, this started going into turn one. So trying to get back far enough to be able to see what in the world happened there.
Yeah, take the first
there's the
first one.
There's the contact between the 57 and the 487, and then as Larsson's getting the car righted, here comes the 61 of Hagström. It's right on board with...
Hagström really didn't have anywhere to go because the 57 just spun it in front of him.
Riding on board with Hagström now. Gets out of the first one. Oh, yeah, no, you're right, Tony. That 57's still trying to gather it up.
And then lost the handle, snapped C-by, and we're under caution again.
Tony on the ball there.
Can I get that in writing? Because that's a very rare...
Daniel
As you both are well aware.
Yes. Daniel Blomqvist, Marcus Hagman once again, Kenneth Tier, Bjorn Broström, Daniel Holmer, Johan Larsson all coming down pit road. Looking as though Larsson's sprint race at least will be done.
Yeah, I can confirm that he is being shown and is respecting the meatball flag, so he's unfortunately not going to be able to come back out again.
He's got Bluetooth right front suspension. Yeah, that's pretty much done and dusted for the sprint race.
Disconnected as we will get set to run, I believe. Now, one of you two can tell me if there will be either a green-white checkered here for the sprint race, which will be a first on the season, or will it be a one-lap shootout to determine the winner?
Wait for it. One lap shootout.
There you go. So we got one lap and another great restart like Anton Bratberg just had that could net his first sprint win of the season.
It's the other thing, too. If you look where Villa Whalen is and Philip Bjork, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Here we go. Let's see what type of restart Villa gets on the outside.
Both of the Team GAIA cars running inside the top 10. Whalen running in second. And it looks as though Bratberg is electing the outside line for this restart, unless they're going single file, which that also might be a possibility.
I haven't seen anything in the chat, so I think they were lining up and then they no longer are. I'm not entirely sure.
Lights are still out on the safety truck, so we're going green.
Guess we'll see what happens.
Typically, oh no, we're going green. Single file restart. Oh no, never mind. We're done. That will be Anton Bratberg will take the win here in the sprint race.
Oh, did it come to time?
Oh, it was a time limit finish.
There you go.
There you go. So Anton Bratberg will take the win here in the sprint race. First sprint win for him this season. As we will now get set to go here for the main race here tonight. Daniel Sollo with a time of 29.867 will take the pole. Linus Broström 4/1000ths of a second off will make up row number 1. Jesper Eriksson and Eric Blixt will make up row 2. Anton Ehrmann and Jochen Wett will make up row number 3. Row 4 will see Andre Solander and Alexander Arieldsson. Christian Gantz and Eric Lundberg will make up row number 5. Row 6 will go to Dennis Scherp and Peter Helmbro, with row 7 seeing Jonas Gunnarsson and Michael Haflidason. Tony Oivonen and Jonas Fors will make up row number 8. Tony.
Tim Nyholm and Oscar Fredrickson making up row number 9. Jonas Gunnarsson and Robert Eriksson in row 10. Row 11 you can see Anton Bradford and Philip Bjork, with Martin Liesnik and Connie Lundell making up row number 12. Jason?
Yeah, row 13 going to Robert Erling and Haflidi Johansson, with row 14 belonging to Marcus Stella and Philip Carlin. Row number 15 and rounding out the top 30 to start this race off is going to be Anneli Fagrell and Mikael Hagström. Row number 16 going to Björn Broström and Daniel Holmer, with row 17 Kenneth Thier and Daniel Blomqvist. Marcus Hagman and Vilde Wallen starting. Really?
Yeah, that's what I thought as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering that same thing.
Okay. Sure. Well,
Here we go.
Johan
that's
Larsson.
row number 18.
With Johan Larsson rounding out the field. Weather conditions here for tonight. We are just past 7:30 p.m. in sim time. 24-degree ambient temperature, 26-degree track temperature. Tony, take us away.
Star works its way out of turn number 4. Geico restart zone is in effect. It's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some barbecue because it's time to get it on in Music City. Race fans, it's showtime!
Great start there from Daniel Sollo. Linus Broström not quite able to stick with him as Jesper Eriksson for that Forza Esports team to the bottom into second place. Not quite clear yet of the 71. Eric Blixt hanging around there as well.
Blixt trying to make his way up the inside right now as he's now pulling door to door with Linus Broström. Broström caught on that outside lane. He's got to figure out a way to quick.
Caution is out. At the back of this field here, possibly Kenneth Thier. Oh, that's Michael Haflidason.
Yes, it was.
That is around backwards. And as we will take a look and try to see what happened there with the number 81, two-time winner this season, Michael Haflidason, riding on board with him. That's the 77 he was very close to, and I don't think that was the reason for the caution.
Go to the Chopper picked up a really good view of that.
I was just going to say, it was 79 catching a piece of it there as well. It's the 112. Oscar Fredrickson there as well, getting into the rear corner of the 81.
The way that car snapped when it had contact, that's bizarre.
There haven't been any iRacing updates here recently, so nothing that would have messed with anything, at least as far as we know.
It's just not as bad as what happened this weekend with the virtual Rolex or virtual 24 Hours of Le Mans.
Yeah, that was a black eye for sure. By the way, same company that picked up the IndyCar license, just so that is out there in the ether.
Totally not throwing any shade here.
Oh no, not at all.
No.
With a league that was going to run some Dallara cars.
I put them on the
around
tee. You
many
guys
ovals.
swing at them.
It was just pertinent information for everyone. That's all that was. I wasn't trying to insinuate anything.
I'll put them on the tee. You guys just drive the golf balls.
So not too much in the way of contest here thus far early on. As Anton Bratberg finding himself in pit road. He did have a little damage. There was some issues after the caution had come out. Marcus Stiller, Anton Bratberg, Emily Fagrell, Connie Lundell also getting a piece of it. There's Stiller in the 013. Oh, that was Jonas Force. That ends up clipping the 111 and forcing a meeting of the minds between two superior cars.
Jonas got yeeted under that melee.
Saw him get nudged. Forrest rolling back out onto the racing surface, right side of that car in quite a bit of dismay. Michael Haflidason and Daniel Holmer still on pit road, or Holmer's stopped at the end of pit road as the field passes by. As we get set to go back to green flag racing once again.
As once again, Linus Broström caught on the outside. Your points leader coming into tonight, he's going to have a rough time of this one, I'm afraid. As both Jesper Eriksson and Eric Blixt were able to get by him under that green flag run that we had. Question is, what type of restart is Sollo going to get this time?
Daniel Sollo and Eric Blixt lining up in the same order that they were in coming off of turn 4 2 weeks ago at Atlanta. It was the car behind him that ended up winning the race. As we go back to green flag racing here in just a moment. Field getting bunched up off of turn 4. Sollo into the restart zone. Green flag in the air. Blixt getting a very good jump as well. Jesper Eriksson hung up on the outside.
Now, there is room for at least one of those Force Esports cars to get down. Now they can get in line. But behind them, that is just a slugfest between the 42 of Oman and Andre Salander on the low side. Is right now Oman caught on the top side, and the 24 sideways.
Was going to cause 3 wide behind them, and then just about getting that sorted out. But racing in front of and behind the 24 now after his moment, shall we say.
Gunnarsson battling to the outside of Dennis Scherp. That is a battle for the 11th position. Still battling between those two, the 48 and the 33. Just ahead of them, Christian Gantz making a rare appearance, getting very close with Eric Lundberg on the inside. That's a battle for 8th between those two.
Don't see any donuts, so they were able to stay off of each other.
Just the 3rd start of the season for the 38 of Gantz. Finished 20th at Daytona and 30th back at Kansas earlier on this season. So now we're starting to get single file again. Is up towards the front. They're about 3 abreast here for this race lead, or at least they were coming out of turn 2. Jason, Sollo, Blixt, Eriksson, all very, very close with each other.
3 wide in the back end of the top 10.
Oh, contact. That was Jochen Wendt in the 101. Sending somebody into the wall. I believe it was Christian Gantz.
38.
Yeah, that it was, as both Gantz and Arolds now 3 wide again. And they're still going to be 3 wide coming into turn 3 with Jonas Gunnarsson trying to split the middle of the 18 and the 101. This could easily go wrong, but they managed to keep it sorted out. Great racing there, but please don't do that too often for my sake.
Haken Wet wisely backing out of that one.
There's a big dive as well by Alexander Arildson going into turn 3 that got him out of that 3 wide predicament. And now Jonas Gunnarsson all over the back of him in that number 33 as we ride on board now with Gunnarsson.
He's leaning on Lundberg right now. That's Lundberg in the 18 to his inside. Gunnarsson is one of the first cars tonight we've seen make that second lane actually work.
It's one of those where if you stack up enough cars on that bottom lane, the outside lane has nowhere to go but go forward, especially if everyone on the bottom is getting slower and slower.
Philip Broberg has decided to put it on the hauler early. Ooh,
big
hip
wiggle.
check.
It's Dennis Sherp in the 48. Got a big nudge coming out of 4.
Yeah, unfortunately,
pointed in the right. Go ahead.
Yeah, he may be pointing in the right direction, but unfortunately for him, he's going to lose that main pack. It's not an ideal situation to be put in, but there is plenty of racing going on in this front pack still, so I think we're going 3 wide again.
Again, off the door of the 101 as we take a look a little bit further up. Anton Ehrmann, Team Superior teammate with Andre Solander, still battling to the inside. Linus Broström continues a backslide for him, now in 7th position, trying to keep from losing 6th against Alexander Arildsen in the 24.
About the 12 of Marcus Hagman. He's sitting plus 17. He's the only one that's really made a ton of headway here tonight.
Been to the 18th position for Marcus Hagman in the 12. It's a battle just outside the top 10. That is Jochen Wedd in the 101 on the inside. Tony Oivinen on the outside. The battle for 11th between those two.
Plenty of room, plenty of respect being shown. That's something good to see, especially this early going, as we're only working lap 16 of 186.
Just behind them, Martin Liesnich battling side by side with Marcus Hagman. 17th for Hagman. Liesnich starting to work his way up, finished 3rd in the sprint race. Or 4th, pardon me, in the sprint race. Gilda Whalen, after finishing 2nd in the sprint race, however, starting in 36th as the caution comes out in front of them. At least it looked like it was in front of them.
I'm not exactly sure.
It appears to be
I
going
think
straight.
it was.
It was like
They were coming up to lap Jonas Fors, but I don't think that's what would have caused it. The 78 was going quick enough. They weren't like nearly stopped on track, so I'm not quite sure.
Just outside the top 10 is where it happened. Oh, there. Okay, it is. Who is that?
Dennis Sherp had fallen out of the top 10 after that hip check. Everyone else.
The 38.
It's 38 of Christian Gans. He's running in 12th right now, so whatever happened with him, he's maintained his position. So take a look and see what happened with Gans. Oh, off the front of Tony Oivinen, but able to keep it straight. So slideways in front of the field, but able to keep it straight.
Sideways enough that it triggered an automatic caution. I was going to say, luckily nobody else got into it, but it looks like 77 may have gotten into the 58 while trying to avoid that.
Good group of cars coming down pit road. Linus Broström, Jesper Eriksson, Anton Ehrmann, Andre Solander, Jonas Gunnarsson, Peter Helmbro, among many, many others taking this time to come down to pit road, as it will be Anton Ehrmann winning the race off of pit road in the 42.
The thing to keep in mind, they've got 5 sets of tires to get them through all 186 laps here tonight. with an 85% fuel fill. So, you know, you play the odds. There's probably going to be more cautions, but if we do get an extended green flag run, you're going to be able to stay out that much and hopefully catch some other people a lap down.
Taking a look and seeing that's 186 laps here tonight. Stage break will be on lap 80 here this evening, so we will get a mandatory caution to completion of lap 80 to award a stage winner. As Tony, I'm looking right now and seeing in our communications with the league, one of the founding members of the Forza Esports team and member of that team for 3.5 years, naturally, has joined Bright Esports that we did not know about until I just saw it now. Otherwise, it would have been updated prior to the start of the race. Linus Broström off to Bright Esports.
At the end of the season. So,
at the end of the season, yes.
But still, it's nothing like some...
That is big news, though. You know, that would be like somebody going from Gibbs to Hendrick or vice versa.
Or like Gibbs to RCR. Couldn't tell who that would be.
I didn't want to throw shade.
Oh no. This time, genuinely, no shade meant.
No way. Who might that be?
This time. So it will be Eric Blixt, Daniel Sollo, Alexander Arildson, and Eric Lundberg, with Tony Oivinen, your top 5 here for this restart as we get set to go on lap 22 of 186.
So Jason's question, Brian Chu.
Thank you.
Those of you who have watched sim racing media for the last couple of years, you'll get the joke.
Brian Chu, a member of the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway series that runs every Friday night.
And what number does he run? The 18.
Yes, sir. Starting round number 2 of the playoffs tomorrow night, as a matter of fact, for them.
I'm excited for this one, although I'm confused why the first 3 races of the playoffs are all at Talladega.
Because I didn't make the schedule. So
that explains everything.
I couldn't answer that.
Meanwhile, Eric Blixt is going to be the control car this time, as the 24 of Rildson looking a little bit jumpy there on the inside. Checking to make sure that he's going to have the tire to get that car going. Gives him the wiggle, and not a good enough wiggle, I guess. As Sollo able to hold course on that second lane.
Good enough jump there for Alexander Rildson, maybe to lose the second position, but not bad enough to lose third. So Rildson jumping up into that spot. Christian Gantz working to the inside of the 112 of Oscar Fredrickson, as that was the 13 of Daniel Sollo coming down pit road here early. Interesting decision, especially after coming out from a caution. Oh, jump to restart then, maybe?
I would have to assume so. That is going to be all but help for him. He was in a really good position challenging Eric Blixt for the lead, and then just having to come in.
Watch the 13. We saw this issue in the Circle B race a couple of weeks ago. Guys, and Tony, you wouldn't have seen it because I was clearing them. But a couple of guys were getting black flags for jumping the restart, even though they were not jumping the restart, and that was where that ended. Now, going into the restart zone, you have to stay behind the race leader. The race leader has to maintain pace speed until he gets to the restart zone, and the guy in second cannot pass the leader prior to the leader going. Neither one of those things happen there. And
you can't. Well, here's the thing: is everybody has to maintain the pace speed. If they give you like a 3 mile an hour fluctuation either way. So if you're trying to anticipate on that outside lane, you still can't pass the leader until you get to the start finish line, and that's really what's been throwing guys off.
But we saw in that replay that he was nowhere near passing him, let alone passing him before the start line. So it's an interesting little rule, or interesting little thing with this new restart zone rule, as Andre Solander picking up a position up into 12th position, passing Philip Bjork. Vilda Whalen continuing her good run of luck as of late, after taking the stage win at Atlanta last week and having a very good run, top 10 finish for the 29. Jason continuing the good fortune up into 12th after finishing second in the sprint race.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say it was good fortune to be down where she was for some reason after finishing second, but still gaining 24 spots. Great job here up into 12th, and big battles up ahead of her, so looking like it could be more fairly soon.
Season high 8th place finish for the 29 last week at Atlanta, as Jonas Skoglund and Jochen Wentoni going side by side.
But getting back to Vilda, wouldn't it be something if one of those Team GAIA cars were to come home with the W tonight?
Certainly would be interesting. Oh boy.
Cylinder and Wet going after each other now. And we got one up into the wall. That's Jonas Ford.
Jonas Ford's in the 78 has had a mare of a day thus far, just trying to stay out of everyone's way. Doing that successfully. It's Jesper Eriksson and Philip Bjork running side by side. Contact with the wall there for the 044 of Philip Bjork.
Marcus Stella coming in looking to profit off of this, and seems to, is the 044 going to be able to get below him though on exit?
Slide job and a crossover.
Just about getting there, as the in front of them the 37 of Jesper Eriksson coming back up the pack, trying to make a move on Vilda Wallin.
Eric Blixt has opened up a 1 second lead over the rest of the field. Alexander Arildsson currently holding back Tony Oivonen, and now a 3-wide battle between Oscar Fredriksson on the high side, Eric Lundberg in the middle, and Andre Solander on the bottom. Lundberg backs out, now side by side between Fredriksson and Solander, as the 140 continues to move his way up through the field on fresh tires after a pit stop on lap 18.
Something we're going to see all night. You can get the tire advantage and not get caught up in someone else's dumpster fire. The undercut is going to be so huge here tonight, Frank, that it's going to be immeasurable. Probably bigger than any other track we've been to so far this season.
Got very close there to Tony Oivonen coming out of turn 2, but Solander now slicing his way through the top 5. Again, on a fresh set of tires, or a fresher set of tires, I should say. And now, as to close down 1 second on Eric Blixt, as he has broken free of the rest of the field.
It's just some amazing racing that we've been seeing here tonight so far. So if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single moment of action here on Sim Racing Media, as I saw a tentative schedule for this coming weekend is, the 044 of Bjork checking everybody up behind him is the 33 of Gunnarsson, gives him a shove, 3 wide going into 3.
Still 3 wide as Gunnarsson can't get clear on the bottom. Anton Ehrmann on the outside. Now Linus Broström was thinking about moving through the middle. Still 3 wide going into 1.
Think about the middle now. He's looking to the inside, but luckily no longer going to be 3 wide as both Björk and Broström able to clear Anton Ehrmann. And what a move to send it down the inside from Linus Broström. Granted, he has tyres, but that still looked impressive as the 044 bonks the wall on the outside.
There were a couple of guys that came down, well, the bunch of the field that came down on lap 18, a lot of them took fuel only, some of them took tires. The 2 guys up at the front of the field now as Andre Solander has taken the race lead and put 1.2 seconds on Eric Blixt. Also Jesper Eriksson running in 10th right now. Those 2 did take tires. Jonas Gunnarsson, Linus Broström, those guys doing it on pure pace right now as they did not take tires. They took fuel only on that pit stop on lap 18, as did Anton Ehrmann, who right now is right in front of Marcus Hagman and Philip Bjork.
Been starting to claw his way back up through, but it's still a long ways to go in this one. But getting back to what I was saying before, we had that 3 wide, and we're back in a 3 wide situation. Boy.
Yes, we are. Linus Broström on the outside, Gunnarsson on the bottom. That was Marcus Stiller, who they were splitting in the middle.
I'm going 3 wide. Let me say what I got to say. Allegedly, there's going to be a round of bottom split bingo going to be happening this weekend.
24 hours at Daytona coming up here soon, and I'm sure we're going to have a full day, actually about a day and a half with 3 splits to take a look at some of the guys running in the 24 hours at Daytona. Now, what I can tell you as well is that we were anticipating being able to run in the Daytona 24. However, scheduling conflicts has forced the debut of SRM Racing Endurance Team to push back. We are eyeing Sebring as our debut date. The event at Sebring possibly being the first race that we do as a network that we will bring to you minute by minute in March when that event runs.
I don't know if we're going to be broadcasting it, but we'll definitely be checking in throughout the days, depending on how the team is doing.
Well, it's only a 12-hour at Sebring. It's only a 12-hour.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Still
so yeah, we'll be checking in. We'll still be checking in. In some way, shape, or form, to talk with some of the guys that have driven. I'm not going to be talking to anybody actually in the car under competition, but we'll talk to some of the other guys.
That's the fun part. You guys get to hear a completely different side of me.
No. I don't want to lose our monetization on YouTube.
Ooh. Lundberg and Wett getting very, very close in the 18 and the 101. A battle for 7th between these 2. And it will now be Jochen Wett moving forward.
All we need, Frank, is 3 seconds into a race, you calling someone's parents' parental status into question.
That's why age restrictions are a thing, but anyway. As if people don't know how to press the Yes, I am 18 button.
Hashtag not wrong.
Side by side battling. 13th position, Linus Broström taking over position from Kim Nyholm in the 58. So Broström starting to work his way back forward again.
Ericsson wet going after each other for 7th still.
Ericsson will win that battle. And with that, what we will do is we will take our first break of the evening. For a lot of drivers, the first pit stop is not that far away. We will bring those to you. On the other side of this break, you are watching the Team GAIA 400 here from the Nashville Superspeedway for the Svenska eRacingligan. We will be back right after this.
Behöver du en bil? Mabe hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mabe hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
Back to live action here from the Nashville Superspeedway for the Team GAIA 400. Here for the Svenska eRacingligan, Andre Solander right now currently holding a 1.2 second lead as his tire advantage is starting to fall away. Eric Blixt, as you see on screen right now, had that gap about as high as 2 seconds. He has closed that gap back down to 1.3 as the 95 starting to work his way in as pit stops should be coming soon.
He's going to have to be careful.
Oh, somebody in the grass there. I believe that might have been
Anton
the 101.
Bradberg.
Yep, there it is. Brodberg on pit exit.
We stay green, though, luckily.
Anton Brodberg, your sprint race winner tonight. Just came out of pit road. Tony Oivinen coming in. Christian Gantz coming in as well.
Blixt is going to have to be careful because Jesper Eriksson is starting to catch him. So the two cars that did take tires under the caution on lap 18, they're sitting 1 and 3 right now with only Blixt separating the two of them. A little bit of action going on just inside the top 10 as Linus Broström and Jonas Gunnarsson starting to heat things up.
Peter Helmbro getting around Kim Nyholm as well in that 77. For the race-sponsored cars, Vilda Whalen right now running in the 8th position after finishing 2nd in the sprint race. As that 29 continues to move up through the field, the 4 has moved her way up as well. Currently running in the 23rd spot is Emily Fegrell. She finished towards the back of the sprint race. Currently now passing Philip York. That's up to 22nd now for the second of the two Team GAIA cars. Is Alexander Arieldsson coming down pit road in the 24.
We're seeing it, you know.
Now.
Go ahead.
Eric Blixt now being passed by Jesper Eriksson, and then also looks like Christian Gantz getting a lap back on him as well. Those tires really not going to be happy. That's I guess that's about why we're doing pit stops right about now.
These guys were not going to be able to make it from the start of the race to the stage. Andre Solander, Jesper Eriksson were going to make it after coming into pit on lap 18. Same thing with Linus Broström as Eric Blixt comes down pit road now. Jonas Skoglund would be the next car. Skoglund up into P3. Vilda Whalen down pit road as well. So Tony, cars slowly starting to trickle in here. Oh, Whalen missed her box.
That's not a good thing, especially under green flag conditions. That's just going to add to the injury there. You know, with the speeds that everybody's hitting here tonight, this is turning into a you've got to be spot on perfect. As now Helmbro and Fredrickson and Wett go down pit road.
More battling out on track here as Eric Lundberg just being shown the high side and then being left for dead pretty much by Broström, Gunnarsson, and Helmbro. All of those on the same age tires, but Lundberg now coming in for his stop.
May as well come in now. And again, that was going back to Vilda. That was very dangerous for her. She missed the turn in for her box, so she overshot the box completely. It's not like she slid through it and then had to back up about 2 pit boxes worth on pit road. Very lucky she didn't get DQ'd for going backwards down pit road.
Of course, far enough to have that really trigger anything. It would have given her a warning, but nothing egregious. But I mean, right now we're going to see the different strategies the tire strategies and the fuel strategies start to play out, the people that were down pit road under that caution lap 18, are all able to go an extra 18 laps before they need to go to the fuel. They should be able to make it to the stage from here, because I believe I heard somebody say they're about 19 laps short, and you figure you can save 2 under caution, come down on 18, that'll give you just enough to get to the stage break.
Jonas Skoglund surrendering the 3rd position to come down pit road. You saw in replay there as Tony was speaking there, that was the replay of Jesper Eriksson getting around Andre Solander for the race lead. Martin Liesnich, Michael Hagstrom also coming down pit road. As of the drivers that have not pit at all in this race, there's only one left. That would be the man we're following on camera right now. That is Kenneth Tier, currently running in the 10th position. Now the 49 comes down pit road to take his pit stop. Pit stop cycle, we're anticipating, Jason, complete now before we hit the stage caution.
Yeah, it feels like it should be. And the fact that we're completing pit stop cycle on lap 65, very good omen for those who came down on lap 18. If we were completing it a few laps earlier, they'd maybe be looking at their fuel gauges quite longingly, hoping that it somehow goes up. But they should be all good, and everyone fairly strung out now. I think we're all single file. I don't see much apart from now Robert Erling trying to make it past Marcus Stiller for 15th.
Philip Carlin battling with Emily Fagrell as well. That is for 11th, as Fagrell now the highest running of the 2 Team GAIA cars.
She just got passed by her teammate coming through 1 and 2, as Vilda is on the fresher tires.
And a lap down as well.
Correct.
A couple laps down, actually. Oh no, she is just one. As Philip Carlin completes the pass on the outside line. Linus Broström and Jonas Gunnarsson, as well as Peter Halmbro, all 3 of those guys keeping very, very close tabs on each other. No move has really been made to try to get past one of the guys. However, they are rolling quite close to each other at the moment. Oh, Broström hard into the wall in 4.
It's just a flesh wound. I'm thinking Gunnarsson is happy to just use Broström as, the proverbial fuel pig that we talked about on the super speedways. To try to punch the hole and just say that he makes a liar out of it.
Yeah, well, one guy hits the wall, it's kind of hard to stay behind him, especially if they're getting slower. And Jonas Gunnarsson, as he was for most of the time going up through the field, now ahead of Linus Broström after Broström's mistake. Fagrell now back on Philip Carlin for 11th.
Not gotten away from each other most of this race.
A lot of cars flying by that have taken pit stops. Daniel Sollo being one of them. Sollo currently running in the 29th position after pitting on lap 59. And Jason, if you remember, he's back there because of a restart violation under the last restart.
Yeah, he is indeed. Unfortunately, going to be a very tall order to get his lap back, as I would assume most people are going to be coming in for the stage no matter what. I guess if you're getting your lap back, actually, it's probably not the best idea, but either way, still going to be a lot of work for him to do. And looking at those with fresh tyres and those with not, it feels like I would now know what multi-class oval racing looks like.
pretty much.
Cars working their way through the field at pit rather early in the pit cycle. Alexander Arilton up to 11th. Back on the lead lap. Same thing with Eric Blixt. In the 95, starting to work his way up in positions now, up to 12th. As the top 17 currently, Robert Erling in the 82. He is the first car not on the lead lap. Jochen Wett, however, catching up quite significantly. Erling, one of the drivers that came into pit on lap 18. Wett coming in on lap 60.
These guys are picking him up and laying him down. It looks like Emily Flegrell looking to follow Larson and Ovanen through on Carlin. The only thing is, Carlin able to defend from that second lane. They've got the rubber blade down there. And with as cool as the track conditions are getting, that second lane's starting to come into its own, Frank.
It certainly is. And Carlin has done a very good job of hanging it out on that outside line and being able to work it. As a battle deep in the field, that is Daniel Blomqvist behind Jonas Skoglund. This is for the 21st position. Skoglund in on lap 63, Blomqvist in on lap 61. As Jesper Eriksson making his way through turns 3 and 4 right now. 2 seconds clear of Andres Solander, looking for another stage win on the season as we are 5 laps to go until the stage break.
These guys and gals putting on a hell of a show here tonight. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single moment of action here on Sim Racing Media. And while you're at it, feel free to give this video a thumbs up because it really does help share these live streams with the YouTube algorithm. The more thumbs up the video gets, the more likely it is to appear on someone's homepage of, hey, you might like to watch this. So do us and your friends a favor. Hit that thumbs up button.
Tony Oivinen passing Connie Lundell there in the 91. That is for the 12th position. Oivinen in on lap 54, one of the very first to come in on this most recent cycle. As Jonas Forrest gets up and out of the way, Alexander Arilton battling and punting Kenneth Tier. That will move the 24 up the racetrack and give position to Eric Blixt, at least for the moment. Now Anton Ehrmann about to lose position to both of them.
It's the chrome horn from Arilton. And here comes the 016 that is a lap car.
You know, and also, Tony, you know, we talk about it's to like, share, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe because we are getting closer and closer and closer as the caution comes out here. Getting closer and closer to a yellow flag.
I think that was a lap early, but either way, that is the stage.
So there you go. So that will be Jesper Eriksson, your stage winner. Just the third caution of the night. Only 2 for incident here at Nashville. We'll take another break. We'll be right back. Jesper Eriksson, your stage winner here in Nashville.
Behöver du en bil? Mabe hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mabe hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
About set to go back to green flag racing after the stage break. Guys coming down pit road, some guys staying out, some guys taking a little bit extra fuel. Either way, it's Linus Broström leading Peter Helmbro back to the line for the start of stage number 2, Jason.
Yep, exactly that. The pace truck is already off. 71 approaching that restart zone, and here we go. Inside lane following very well. Peter Helmbro appeared to be a little bit of asleep.
So I've gotten the memo that they were going back to green, but how about Marcus Hagman up 33 from where he started this piece and making a bid for the lead going into
Very interesting, that restart that Peter Helmbro got, seeing as all three of those guys were Forza Esports cars. Hagman to the point. Hagman will lead this lap. Alexander Arieltsen trying to follow him through. Linus Broström will go from first to third here on this first lap.
Broström's playing long game right now. He's not trying to overdrive the car. He's wanting to save the tires because the turns here are notorious for cheese gratering a set of Goodyears.
So we have Forza Esports running 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by Team Superior running 5, 6, 7, 9. Jason, racing certainly is a team affair, is it not?
It is indeed, and then sitting in 8th place, Tony Overland going, "Hello, can I join the fun?" And he is joining the fun by the looks of things, trying to make a move on Robert Eriksson here. Breaking that line of 3, now making it 2 lines of 2.
A little bit further back, we were just looking at Eric Lundberg getting blocked all the way down the track by the 41 of Bjorn Broström. As you're right, Jason, Tony Oivinen getting up past the 35. Another Team Superior car trying to join the fun. Connie Lundell up into the 10th position. So 5 of the cars up in the top 10, at least at the very second we're at here, for that Team Superior team. But it's Forza Esports right now, top 4.
Forza Esports top 4. But keep your eye on Oivinen. He's giving Uman everything he can handle right now. Is the 42 definitely on the defensive as Oivinen backs out of it just a tick and keeps Robert Eriksson in check behind him. But Eric Blixt starting to carve his way back up through the field. He's on the low side. That's Hakan Wet to his outside. Wet trying to hang it tough on that second lane.
We talk about racing being so much of a team sport. We'll take a look at those team standings right now. We didn't get a chance to do it at the beginning of the race, but right now that Alkentech team, as we had mentioned, both Nyman Racing and Almatech have been the 2 dominant teams this season, but right now none of them are anywhere to be found in the top 10 right now. It is all 4s. It is all Team Superior. Team GAIA sponsoring this race moved up a spot on Team Superior underdogs after last week at Atlanta, and looking to do a little bit more work up through the field as Emily Fegrell runs in 31st position. Bilda Whalen running in 21st right now.
Probably not the run they were hoping for, but Connie Lundell has his hands full right now. Just outside the top 10 is Larson and Gunnarsson going after him.
Jesper Eriksson getting around Robert Eriksson, now going after Dennis Scherp. As Jason once again proving a lot of close racing here in the early stages at Nashville, but not a lot of passing going on. It's a difficult place to get around somebody.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be doing the passing, as you can see, they're all trying to do it early on. I'm used to saying things like, oh, you probably shouldn't be racing this early. You've still got 100 laps to go. But if you want to make any positions up on your tyre, and it has to be within the first 20 laps or so, otherwise it gets significantly harder than it already is. This phase of the race is going to be much easier to make the passes now rather than later.
Connie Lundell up by the wall, losing a ton of spots, down to 19th, goes to 91. They're 3 wide, not that far ahead as Johan Larsson was caught in the middle there between the 101 and the 38. Tony, as you mentioned before, Eric Blixt moving up, sort of stalled out there in that 17th spot.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of strong cars around him that are racing each other as well. And when you've got drivers 2 wide in front of you, and I say this every time, it's way too early to be going 3 wide. But like Jason pointed out, you need to. You need to push the envelope. You need to really put your car in a situation that you really wouldn't, especially in the early going here, or early going of a tire run here, simply because, passing is at a premium.
Especially for Eric Blix to cross the line first in each of the last 2 races, however, boasts only 1 win on the season. As Dennis Scherp trying to stay in that 8th position. Andre Solander, who was so good during the first stage, finishing 2nd in that stage, leading a handful of laps. Now getting up into the 8th position as here comes the Alkentech team.
Starting to make their headway, but coming off the 4, we saw Eric Lundberg in the 18 bang the wall as yeepers. Another coat of paint, they would have been in trouble.
Very close between the 37 and the 140.
You say very close. I'm pretty sure there was contact there.
Surprised me.
Someone managing to keep it in a straight line, but
I don't see any donuts.
not yet.
Well, you wouldn't if there were bumper to bumper, now would you?
True.
Jonas Skoglund on the outside of Eric Lundberg. That is for 11th. Jonas Gunnarsson right now occupying the final position in the top 10. Haflidi Johansson coming down pit road, and it would appear as though he has had a little bit of an issue in his number 52. This is him coming down onto pit road, overshooting a little bit. Through the grass, sliding through a couple of the vacant pit stalls here at Nashville, and onto pit road.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be a particularly good family affair for himself or for Michael Haflidason, as both are sat in the pits. Michael Haflidason for what appears to be is going to be quite an extended amount of time as he jumped to the pits.
Haflidason has sat, and Haflidason was the cause of that first caution. Well, I wouldn't say the cause, he was a part of that first caution. He's had a couple of instances where he'll be on pit road for about 15 to 20 minutes, do a couple laps, go back down pit road for another 15 to 20 minutes, and then come back down again. As Jason just mentioned, he is back down pit road. Still, no one has retired from this race. Officially, all 37 competitors to start this race are still turning laps.
It's always great to see, despite even if you're multiple laps down, just stay out there and just keep slugging at it. Seat time will lead to wins sooner or later.
And it's right at the century mark of this race as well, as we see a big fan out just outside of the top 10. Peter Helmbro getting into that 10th spot. Eric Lundberg also getting around Jonas Gunnarsson. Now Helmbro trying to stay ahead of Gunnarsson, as well as Marcus Hagman, who had gotten past a good 15 to 20 laps ago by Alexander Arilson. Now these two have a 2-second lead over Tony Oivinen, currently running in the 3rd position. But right now, Hagman was about a second off of Arilson. He's closed that gap back.
Yeah, Hagman not a stranger to this track, has multiple wins here in this car. So, you know, it's good to see him. He struggled in qualifying, which, you know, that's normal for this. But when it comes to race time and time to go, put your money on the 12. As big fight going on for 8th right now between Oman, Lundberg, and Scherp. Gunnarsson there as well.
2 Team Superior cars on the outside. Peter Helmbro just behind them, and it's going to be the 18 of Eric Lundberg, the victor there. As back up to the front, Hagman very, very close to the back end of that 24.
Yep, one thing to catch up, another thing to pass. So we'll keep one eye on that one to see whether that's possible, and one eye on the slugfest back just outside the top 10.
Talking about guys that have not run too many races, we've already run through the amount of races and the finishing positions for Christian Gantz earlier in the night. This is only Hagman's 4th race on the season. He finished 24th at Homestead in his season debut. On the dirt at Bristol, finished 10th and then 23rd at Atlanta 2 weeks ago, and now battling for the race lead as he gets to the inside of Alexander Arilton. 2 Force Esports teammates swapping the race lead, 12 to the front.
It's a thing about Hagman. He's one of the OGs for Esports. You know, one of the early team members that got on board. He's been a long-time member. Took some time off because of work. Missed almost the first half of the season. But you know, we're seeing him return to form here tonight. And you know, last week he had a good run until he got caught up in someone else's mistake. But tonight, this is the Marcus Hagman that Jason, you and I are used to seeing.
Yep, absolutely. Maybe it was made a little easier as their teammates, but either way, it's still got to catch up and get the job done. So interesting to see what these two are going to do from the front with the 1.8 second gap back to Tony Overland and the rest of the pack.
Now, if you think this racetrack is difficult, it's only going to get more difficult from here. Is next time out in 2 weeks' time, we go to Charlotte Motor Speedway, but we're going to be on the infield Roval in 2 weeks. So I'm sure once again, just as it was earlier this season at Sonoma, it's going to be a lot of fun to see these guys getting more into their element running around a road course. But also, after tonight, there's only 3 more races left before we hit the playoffs. There's Charlotte on the 2nd of February, Pocono on the 16th of February. The 2nd of March will hold Talladega, and that is the final race before we hit the round of 15 for the playoffs. Round 1 will be Vegas and Richmond. Round 2 will be Auto Club and Dover, before going back to Charlotte for the season 5 finale back on the up on the 11th of May. So not a lot of racing here. It's spread over quite a nice bit of time, but still not a lot of racing left here in this Oval Series season, and points are certainly going to be a premium with only 3 races left after tonight to try to lock yourself into the playoffs.
It's going to be made even more difficult with the guys that haven't run the full season, looking to play spoiler and try to steal some points away from some of the drivers that are or have been here all season and are slugging it out with those part-time drivers' teammates.
Absolutely. As Eric Blixt battling with Jochen Huet. This is for the 11th position. 95 on the inside wants it. 101 has it, trying to defend away from Eric Blixt, who has been incredibly quick here tonight. Another guy who's been very, very quick, Jason. Jesper Eriksson, currently sitting in the 6th position, but we saw how good he was on the longer run during that first stage. Comes back, wins the stage. He's sitting there watching with a pretty nice seat for the battle for 3rd between Tony Oivinen and Linus Broström.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen that he's got one lap pace by his qualifying position. He qualified in 3rd place, and that long run pace definitely doesn't disappoint either. So maybe sitting in 6th now, but don't count him out. Anything can happen, and as we know, it normally does. Broström still trying to get past Owen in the 84, but it's looking pretty difficult now.
Ericsson trying to force the issue a little bit on Andre Solander behind him. Now Gunnarsson looking to the outside of the 37. Peter Helmbro helping his Force Esports teammate down on the bottom. And Gunnarsson will slide back in line. Eric Lundberg, Eric Blixt, the final drivers inside the top 10. Blixt getting that spot last lap, passing Dennis Scherp for the final spot inside the top 10.
Slugfest from 3rd on back. I don't know how much longer these guys are going to be able to show patience with each other because, you know, Frank, as I'm sure you can attest, is you had
Oh, contact. That's the 33 of Gunnarsson that ends up going through the grass. Back on track safely.
On track safely, but probably not very happily.
Well, down in 16th.
He's got a lot of work to do.
Down in 16th, battling side by side with Christian Gans, who's not on the lead lap. First car not on the lead lap, by the way, is Christian Gans.
that whole issue with the 33 started when Andre Solander in the 140 banged the wall coming off of 4, and everybody started checking up around him. And unfortunately, the 33 just got yeeted.
There it was, both the 140 and the 37 hitting that turn 4 wall. Because the 33 was not following them into that wall, he ends up getting bounced away. As Tony Oivonen now starting to get bounced down the running order as Jesper Eriksson up into the 4th spot. Not clear, but he had it.
Oivonen holding tough on that 2nd lane. And this deep into a tire run, I wouldn't want to be trying to put that thing on the low line. I'll be straight with you. I would prefer to be at least a car width, maybe 2 car widths off of that apron, where you can see where the 37 of Ericsson and 77 of Helmbro are running.
Ooh.
As, that was a hit.
Oivonen hit that wall a ton out of turn 4. Completely clearing Jesper Eriksson now. Go a little bit further in the back to pick up on where Jonas Gunnarsson is. He's battling to the outside of the 42 of Anton Ehrman for 14th.
So he's just trying to get some clean air to the front end of that Volvo right now.
On board with Jonas Gunnarsson. Working to the back of that 42, and you can see, Jason, you can hear on this replay, on this in-car camera, 9,500 RPM at the very, very, very top of 5th gear.
Yeah, he couldn't go much quicker if he wanted to be honest. Interesting, when I was doing some running, I couldn't get there, so that shows you probably my lack of skill and how these guys are skilled.
Also
In the fact that they can keep that speed up. Yeah,
because oval.
Saw him
Yeah,
just going into turn 1, just barely for the fleetest of tenths of a second. Flipped up to 9,600 RPM. As we see Eric Blixt completing a pass on Eric Lundberg. Now Peter Helmbro looking to complete a pass on his teammate Jesper Eriksson.
Oh, and by the way, Marcus Hagman and Alexander Wilson have carved out a 3-second gap to the peloton behind them.
Those two really started flying up here at the front. They're still in the same order that they were in the last time we left them. But boy, oh boy, if they gotten out a little bit further ahead, is now 3 wide as Jonas Forss goes a lap down. 9 laps down for Jonas Force.
And we're getting within that pit window of you can make it from here. So we're probably going to be seeing green flag pit stops start to pick off here in a couple of laps.
Speaking of green flag pit stops, one driver that has made a green flag pit stop already is the 29 of Vilda Whalen. The Team GAIA sponsored race, the 2 Team GAIA sponsored cars, and team cars as a matter of fact. 25th and 27th right now. 29 running in 25th, 4 running in 27th.
They were as high as top 5, both of them at one point.
Yep. Both in the top 10 earlier on in the race.
You know, this is that point of the race, Jason, where we talk about it all the time. You got to show patience. You got to have patience. You got to have patience. We're getting near that time of the race where the patience are going to flatline and go and die.
Yeah. Patience with the people around you, and probably patience with your own car, with the tires really not feeling how they used to before as well, as Eric Blixt trying to get past Tony Ovanen. He's basically trying to follow what the 3 drivers in front of him have done. It's taken him a little bit less time than the other 2.
Losing patience with your car is not something you necessarily want to have at this particular moment, because you still have about 14 laps to go on this stint before you can come in and change those tires. As Alexander Riltson makes a quick pass on Marcus Hagman coming down the back straightaway going into turn 3. It's Kim Nyholm, who has taken a pit stop, opening the door, the 24 jumping in, the 12 letting him have it.
You know, I know for a fact Forza Esports has only one team rule, and that is try not to kill each other. And that's exactly what they did. You know, if it had been one of the Alkentech cars, if it had been one of the Team Superior cars, Hagman might have put up a different struggle to stay in the lead. But the fact that it's his teammate, so far they're currently sweeping the podium with Riltson, Hagman, and Broström. You know, and then you've got Helmbro right there as well, as he makes a move the inside of Oval. You know, they've locked out the top 5 currently.
Helmbro making it look easy on Linus Broström there. Jonas Skoglund losing a position to the 35 of Robert Eriksson. Connie Lundell has had a moment in the 91. As really slow going up the racetrack going into turn 1. We'll see what happened with Lundell. Contact with the 41 of Bjorn Broström. Kept it straight. We've only had 2 cautions for incident here tonight, worth noting. The last of the incident cautions came way, 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 way back on lap 17.
Contact between the 18 up into the wall. Lundberg pancaked the 83.
Hey, Frank, you really nearly did it then.
What did I do? Oh, that.
Talking about cautions.
Yeah,
you were trying.
Did everything I could. Tried to give some of these guys a break.
Hey, as Frank just jinxed the field, you can get your hate mail coming now. That's Mr. Frank Marchese, care of Sim Racing Media, Hollywood, California, P.O. Box OU812.
Let's take a look and see what happened between these two as Lundberg battling with Tony Oivonen. Contact there, both straight up into the wall. Fortunately, both of them got on the brakes immediately. Kept the cars going straight and kept the contact with the wall to a minimum. So Oivinen down to 16th, Lundberg 15th. 52 of Haflidason Johansson in between them. Alexander Arildsson has opened up a 6/10 of a second lead over Marcus Hagman. Their 3-second lead has shrunk to 1.5 after Peter Helmbro got around Linus Broström. That 77 has been on the move up towards the front, Jason.
Yep, it has indeed, and pretty big gap in front, pretty big gap behind. Might actually be feeling a little bit lonely at this point. Just able to focus on his own race as we come closer and closer to what scheduled would be the final round of pit stops.
We are in that window, just over 50 laps to go here at the Nashville Superspeedway. Only caution between now and lap 17 has been the stage break. So these guys have been on it here tonight. And I think we can call Michael Haflidason, one, a very unlucky boy, and number two, Tony, our first retirement of the evening.
I mean, that's a rough one, you know, being as he got turned to bring out the first caution of the race, you know, and then just that car was never right after that. And he's been struggling with it. He's gone to the pits so many times to try to get that car fixed. He just, you know, finally said no mas, threw in the towel, and called it a night. And I don't blame him.
Certainly will get the Perseverance Award of the evening. As Robert Eriksson trying to chase down Jochen Wett and keep Jonas Gunnarsson behind him. Gunnarsson, after getting spun off towards the infield earlier on in the run, up from 16th, now inside the top 10 after passing Anton Ehrman. Vilda Whalen right now, one of the first cars not on the lead lap. Currently running in the 20th position, right behind Anton Ehrman. Martin Liesnich just behind. As the pit cycle is certainly upon us.
Now, Vilda did come down on lap 103. So she's hoping for another caution to happen. Everybody else, not so much.
Her teammate Emily Fegrell down pit road right now for her final stop. Battle between Johan Larsson and Bjorn Broström. This is for the 17th position. Larsson wants it. Broström strike that, reverse it. Larsson has it. Broström wants it. And Broström will get it in the 41. Jonas Gunnarsson.
Blixt and Gunnarsson all coming down pit road.
Hagman as well in the 12.
Yep.
There's Blixt. So leaders should be coming in at any moment. Peter Helmbro very, very quick here on this final long run of the race. Arildsson looked like he was going to come in, but decided against it. Helmbro coming in. Eriksson as well. Jesper Eriksson.
They've got interesting choices here for strategy. Do you stay out for as long as your fuel allows and have better tyres at the end, but fall off a bit now compared to people who pit earlier? Or do you just pit now and take the advantage now? To be honest, I think pitting now, because you could still pit if there's another caution, because they've got 5 tyre sets in this race.
You still have to give yourself time. If you do stay out, you got to give yourself time to use those tires effectively, because you're going to go at least a lap down on a green flag pit stop. There, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. With this track is 1.33 miles around. You're going at least one down, and you've got to leave yourself enough time to use that tire strategy to be able to get back by the leader, back onto the lead lap, and then get yourself.
Sorry, Tony. Slow car. That was Dennis Sherp trying to get onto pit road. Almost stopped on the racetrack coming out of turn 4. Does get it down pit road, though. Jonas Skoglund, Daniel Blomqvist, Tony Oiveden, Philip Carlin down pit road as well. Continue.
I forgot what I was saying.
Well, there you go.
I just had my heart in my throat for a second there when I saw that. But, yeah, you've got to leave yourself time to get back by the leader, to get back on the lead lap, and then catch the leader again to have a shot at the victory. And, we all know that catching someone is one thing, getting by them cleanly is a completely different thing. And something's going on with the Rielson. He is very slow right now. He may have gone bingo on fuel.
Yep, he might have gone a little bit too long, did Alexander Rielson, taking the access road, not mandatory. Linus Broström comes through.
He's 300 RPM. That engine is
he's out.
As off as it can get.
We're on board with him right now. You can hear it. Nothing.
It's dead in the water.
Well, you can't hear it. That's the point.
Well,
all you're hearing is the gears.
The sweet sound of silence out of that 24.
Which version?
That one.
Does get into his box, though, so not a complete catastrophe, but it does leave him with a lot more work to do.
Bjorn Broström now in the lead of this race. In the number 41, he will surrender that to come down pit road, and it will be, once again, a teammate battle between the number 12 of Marcus Hagman and Peter Helmbro, at least for the moment, depending upon where the 71 of Linus Broström comes out of pit road. Ooh, big wiggle out of Jonas Forss, somehow keeps it off of Andre Solander. Forss has had a really difficult night in that 78.
He's got to be proud of his guys right now. As they're sitting 1-2 currently.
1-2-4 in that top 10 right now. It appears as though Linus Broström will rejoin the racetrack in the 9th position. Rielson coming back out in 14th. Vilda Whalen currently running in the 6th position. However, she came down to pit road on lap 103, so she will get swallowed up and will need to come into pit again to be able to make the end of this race. Final pit stops for the vast majority of the field is just completed. Close call between the 013, the 112, and the 29. We'll take our final break of the evening. We'll be back right after this with the conclusion of the Team GAIA 400 from Nashville.
Behöver du en bil? Mobi hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mobi hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig. Behöver du en bil? Mabe hyrbilar finns på över 150 platser i landet och vi har nästan lika många modeller att välja på. Mabe hyrbilar. Hyrbilar som passar dig.
Back at the Nashville Superspeedway, Marcus Hagman has opened up an 0.8 of a second lead over Peter Helmbro. Jesper Eriksson finding himself 3 seconds behind the top two in the third spot, with company close behind in the form of Eric Blixt. 30 laps to go here at Nashville.
So we got a battle starting to heat up just outside the top 10, or just inside the top 10, as Reelson, Skoglund, and Wet going after each other now. And green flag pit stop's pretty much done and dusted. Is the lap car, the 016 of Martin Lieznik, getting down and out, or up and out of the way of those guys. As Skoglund and Wet still trying to get it sorted out between the two of them.
Watching that battle quite a bit there during the break is Eric Blixt starting to put pressure on Jesper Eriksson for the third spot. Peter Helmbro is closing in. It was 0.8 when we came back from break. It's now 0.4 between the top two. So Hagman either caught some lap traffic or Helmbro caught some pace in that car, as Blixt really starting to work on the back end of that 37.
Blixt has given the 37 of Jesper Eriksson all he can handle right now. And I guarantee you Eriksson is looking just as much in the rearview mirror as he is out the windscreen of that Chevy right now.
Almost caught the wall there coming out of turn 4 there, Jason.
Was that sorry?
So almost caught the wall, did Ericsson, coming out of turn 4 there as we ride off the back of him.
Yeah, not ideal, especially when you got Eric Blixt right behind you. Spent a decent amount of this race in the first portion of it leading, so he's going to be looking to get past Ericsson as quickly as possible and try and bridge that 3-second gap ahead to Helmbro and Hagman.
Riding on board with Eric Blixt. Saw how well he got into the corner. The 37 appears to be rolling through the center a little bit better than what the 95 is able to do at the moment. Daniel Sollo getting put a lap down, and he has had a good night turn poor. Sollo starting on the pole. Unfortunately, that's not lasting after the restart on lap 17. He had to take, after the caution on lap 17, I should say, had to take a drive-through penalty that put him in the back, and with no caution since then other than the stage break, has really found it quite as opportunities to get back up through the field, Tony, quite sparse.
Yeah, but one guy that has found his way up through the field is your current race leader, Marcus Hagman, as he's now getting the pressure from the 77 with Helmbro, his teammate, as those two guys have already carved out a 2 3/4 gap back to their teammate Jesper Eriksson, who is doing everything he can to try to keep Eric Blixt at bay, and he's starting to get a little bit of breathing room for himself now.
These two currently holding a 2.5-second lead over Jesper Eriksson as Helmbro has closed up that gap quite significantly. It was almost a second, now down to about 2 or 3 tenths just from the time we've come back from break. As Helmbro, we saw how good he was, Jason, on the long run. At the back end of that long run, this is going to play right into his hands if we could stay green.
Yeah, absolutely it will. And both of these drivers actually up an impressive number of spots, both in the double digits of plus. Hagman in the lead, started 35th, which is insane to think. Helmbro starting outside the top 10 in 12th. So, looking to maybe get past his teammate, but because it's his teammate, definitely not going to be doing anything rash with it.
This was not looking like it was going to be the greatest of days for Marcus Hagman. Did not qualify, started last in the sprint, finished third to last in the sprint to start 35th, pardon me, in the race here tonight. And through cars wrecking in front of him, through pit cycle, through pit strategy, has gotten himself into a battle for the race lead, as here comes Peter Helmbro down to the inside. Hagman lets him have it. Helmbro to the lead.
That Helmbro needs the points more than he does. There's another battle getting hot and heavy between Anton Oman and Alexander Arilton, as Arilton giving Oman all he can handle.
Peter Helmbro right now sitting 11th in the point standings, finished second back at Homestead, his best finish of the year. 34th at Daytona, 21st at Kansas, 6th at Sonoma, 7th Michigan, 24th at Martinsville, 31st at Phoenix, 2nd at Homestead, 5th at Bristol, and then 21st last week for the guy who currently shows the way here at Nashville.
One of your other big movers right now is that 487 of Dan Bloomquist, currently sitting plus 22. If it weren't for Hagman, he would be our biggest mover right now. But still 11 cars difference in the move forward between the two of them.
See Vilda Whalen right behind the 487 of Daniel Bloomquist, now looking to the inside, as we'd like to thank once again Team GAIA for sponsoring tonight's race, the Team GAIA 400. Not having the show that they would have wanted to have. Vilda Whalen running in 24th right now Emily Fegrell running in the 28th position, not that far away from each other on track. However, there is a couple of laps separation between the two, both running up in the top 10, both finishing up in the top 10 during the sprint race, with Vilda Whalen finishing second in that sprint race. It just has not materialized, Jason, in the main feature race here tonight.
No, it hasn't. That's unfortunate for them, but the best thing they can do is finish the race as best as possible, and then if it does turn out to be not ideal, not what they wanted, look forward to the next races and carry on as normal. As whenever you have a result that you didn't necessarily want, that's the best thing you can do.
Especially with the road course at the Charlotte Roval coming up in 2 weeks' time. Andre Solander now coming under pressure from Alexander Arilton. That is for 7th.
Beat from the chrome horn there going into 3. As Arilton really laying on Solander right now. And the 24 has the pace, but something Jason brought up earlier. Catching someone is one thing. Passing them cleanly, that's a completely different ballgame.
Solander just does hold on to that position, at least for the moment. Peter Helmbro has put the Jets on as Arilton looks to the inside. Little bit of contact, using the 140 as a brake, or at least a brace at the very least to keep him from sliding up. Arilton up into position number 7. Eric Blixt now trying to keep Linus Broström at bay. That is for 4th. And it's Broström taking the spot.
That time of the race where, Broström's normally turning the Jets up here. As, Blixt was giving Broström all he could handle. Anton Ehrmann was watching the battle in front of him between Solander and Wett, as that's kind of piddled out now a little bit, but still throw a blanket over those 3 cars.
Jochen Wett coming up through the field. That 101 came into pit on lap 141. Compared to Solander, who came into pit 9 laps sooner than Jochen Wett did. To go back to what I was mentioning before, Peter Helmbro has checked out. 2.5 seconds is the lead that Peter Helmbro now has over Marcus Hagman. Hagman now 3/4 of a second ahead of Jesper Eriksson. Linus Broström completes a Forza Esports top 4, something that we were very used to seeing in the GT3 series at the end of last year. Now coming over and showing muscle in the Cup side, Jason.
Yep, absolutely they are, and well, to be honest, I didn't really see Peter Helmbro coming up through the pack. I kind of just didn't notice it. I noticed when he was second, and I noticed when he was 2.5 seconds ahead.
It's been one of those nice quiet days for Peter Helmbro. Started 12th, up into the race lead now.
I mean, that's exactly what you need.
Battle for ninth starting to get hot and heavy again between Jochen Wett and Anton Ehrmann, as Ehrmann's giving Wett all he can handle right now, as Eriksson has caught Hagman.
The 101 starting to fall away a little bit, as there is the battle for second now on your screen. The 12 of Hagman has it. Jesper Eriksson in the 37 has 9 laps to try to take it away from him. And all the while, Peter Helmbro's trickling further and further ahead. Eriksson is a little bit quicker than Helmbro is. However, he's got 1 car and 3.1 seconds to try to make up.
Probably not gonna happen.
8 laps now left to go here at Nashville. A lot of close battles, but the most meaningful one right now is this one here for the second spot. There goes Jesper Eriksson to the bottom. Takes over the second spot. Marcus Hagman now has 1.5 seconds between himself and Linus Broström to try to stay on the podium. Regardless, it will be Hagman's best finish of the season in just his fourth start.
Fourth start and a 1, 2, 3, 4 for Forza Esports.
Forrest with 5
Complain about
cars. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, can't complain about that.
Certainly not. 5 Forza Esports cars in the top 10. The top 4 plus Alexander Arildsson right now running in the 7th spot. There's another close battle there for 8th continuing. Andre Solander in the 140. Jochen Wett in the 101. Antoine Ehrmann in the 42. Those 3 behind them, not for position. As we work now with 4.5 laps to go, Peter Helmbro 2.5 seconds clear of Jesper Eriksson.
I don't think we could have asked for a better race here at Nashville, guys. Just the fact that we've seen a lot of side-by-side action, a lot of three-wide action that normally we'd say, well, that's going to be a caution, but they've kept them clean.
Speaking of action, Håkan Wett and Andre Solander for 8th and 9th, and they've got a lot of cars behind them. The 42 is on the same lap. The rest of them are not, but still heating up.
Boy, still quite the little pile there.
One of which being Vilda Whalen.
Vilda Whalen on the bottom of that 3 wide. As Anton Ehrmann trying to slide his way through. That's Kenneth Tier in the 49 on the outside. He's on fresh tires, or fresher tires, I should say. Came into pit on lap 173, so a lot fresher tires than the guys around him.
That's what fresh tires looks like.
Absolutely.
Made that look effortlessly.
Head down the back straightaway, just a lap and a half to go, guys.
Lap and a half, and 2.5 is the gap for Helmbro right now. As white flag in the air, we are racing back to checkers.
One more time around for Peter Helmbro, 2.5 seconds to the good. Last season, it was Eric Blixt taking the race win with Peter Helmbro finishing in 3rd. Right now, it is looking as though Helmbro will better his race to open up last season, season 4. Coming out of turn 4, Peter Helmbro takes his first win of the season and locks himself into the playoffs. He wins the Team GAIA 400.
You just hit the nail on the head, Frank. That was the all-important thing that Hagman knew was going on. Helmbro was not yet completely locked into the playoffs. Yes, he had good points. He should have made it in on points. Now he's guaranteed a spot in round 1 of the playoff.
Hagman holds on to that 3rd position. Broström
He's out of gas.
In 4th.
I think Helmbro's out of gas.
I think it might have just been a friendly push. Yeah, no, it was a friendly push. He's still underpowered.
Okay.
Linus Broström rounding out a 1, 2, 3, 4 for Forza Esports. Eric Blixt, Jonas Gunnarsson. Splitting it from being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Arilton finishing in 7th. And for Peter Helmbro, his first win of the season. Congratulations to the driver of the number 77.
What a time to do it as well, with only now 3 races left until the playoffs. It is crunch time, and he doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
For Helmbro, just his 2nd win on the Cup side. Winner of the season opener of Season 3 back at Michigan was the last time Helmbro saw victory lane. And right now, I believe Tony is with our... No, we're not. We're waiting for him to come into the chat here.
I saw him there, and then I saw him not there.
He was here.
He's not now. As we'll start from back to front. Then we'll go with our 3rd place finisher here tonight. Tony, you are with Marcus Hagman.
Marcus Hagman, welcome back to the form that we're used to seeing you in.
Thank you, my friends.
It's been way too long since we've had a chance to talk, but talk us through you and your teammates just putting on a dominating performance in the second half of this race. Were there team owners in effect, knowing that with a win, Helmbro was going to punch his ticket into the playoff?
No, it was not, because he was much faster on me on the long runs, and he showed it also before the pit stops that he was faster. He catched me quite easily, so he had some practice. I did not, which means I burnt my tires and he did not. So there were no team orders.
You definitely made up for what we saw in the heat race, with leading a ton of laps here tonight. This is a track you've had a lot of success at before.
Yeah.
You're also going to a track in 2 weeks that you've had success at before, and the Roval at Charlotte. What are your thoughts going into that next race?
The competition in the Swedish league with all the GT drivers and all the excellent road drivers there is, I will probably not have much of a chance, but I'll do my best and we'll see where we end up. Hopefully I will be home so I can race. Otherwise, I will watch the broadcast with you guys, who are doing an excellent job.
Marcus, who do you need to thank?
I need to thank Moby Rental Cars, and I need to thank Kappa Bar and Jonas Force for starting 4C Sports, and all my teammates for cheering me on and helping me on, and for doing their share of the practice, even if I didn't, and the tip they gave me was the key to my success.
Marcus Hagman, congratulations on a podium.
Thank you, my friends.
We will hopefully see you in a couple of weeks at Charlotte.
I hope so, but time will tell.
There we go. And Jason, I believe you've got his teammate Jesper Eriksson with you now.
Yeah, I do indeed. Jesper, you had some support in the Twitch chat, and you come home today in 2nd place. Talk us through it.
It was an absolute amazing race. From qualifying, I could have done a little better, but I'm still super proud of my performance there. And then the whole stage 1, I thought it was a mistake taking tires so early on, but in the end it somehow paid off, which was really, really good for me with stage points and everything with that. And then the rest of the race was just saving tires as much as possible, looking what the other guys did and trying to match the strategy as best as possible, which I did thanks to the team who talked through the whole of the strategy and what to do and when to pit. This was really a team effort, so a big congrats to everyone in the team, and especially to Peter for taking the win. He really deserved this one.
Yeah, it really worked well for you guys with the with a strategy, but you definitely had to make your way through and overtake some cars as well. How difficult was it to get those overtakes done, especially late into a tire run?
Ooh, into tire run, it's hard. It's not something that I like to do. It's definitely something that I would avoid if I could, but due to the circumstances, I couldn't. But it's fun. It's challenging. You just need to be really, really, really calm and kind of like think through what the guy ahead of you thinks is gonna do, and hopefully he does as you think he's gonna do. But I think overtaking cars like that, it's one of the more fun things to do, even though it's one of the more frustrating things to do.
Yeah, I can imagine. But looking forward now, we saw your skills in the last GT3 season on a road course. But in 2 weeks' time, we're going into the Charlotte Roval for 65 laps there. What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's gonna be like heaven, to be honest. That track is one of my all-time favorite tracks, and with this car, it's just, for me, it's absolutely amazing. I've driven there so many times, and I'm so much looking forward to it. I have talked with Linus to add it to the schedule for a while, and finally he did, and I am so happy. Hopefully I win there or get top 3, but I'm really much looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to see you up at the front then.
Yeah, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And that will conclude our interview portion here tonight, as unfortunately Peter Helmbro has not rejoined us for an interview here this evening. But guys, mentioned it during the race, about as good a race as you could have had. Started off a little bit iffy. We had 2 cautions during the sprint race in a race that ended up going to time. We had 2 cautions in the first 20 laps, but after that, the only stoppage that we had the rest of the night beyond lap 17 was the stage break. We had green flag racing all night long.
That's what we've come to expect out of this league, is, you know, the fact that they know how to race clean, they know how to race hard, and they know how to put on one hell of a show.
Yep, it's absolutely true, and it's always a great race. I don't think I've watched a race at this track or in this league that I've thought that was a bit shocking, but great results all round, and great to watch. Congratulations to our winner. Wish we could have talked to him, but still.
We'll see if we could possibly get a word in with him probably before the next race. We'll take a look now at the final results here for tonight's race. First, we'll do the feature race. Peter Helmbro, again, taking his second win here in the Svenska eRacingligan Cup Series. First win since the season opening race back in season 3, my goodness, at Michigan. Jesper Eriksson, Marcus Hagman, Linus Broström round out a Forza Esports top 4. Eric Blixt coming home in 5th position. Jonas Gunnarsson, Alexander Arildsson, Jochen Wett, Andre Solander, Anton Ehrman rounding out your top 10. Jonas Skoglund, Daniel Blomqvist, Tony Oivonen, Robert Eriksson, and Dennis Scherp rounding out your top 15. Tony.
So your lead lap cars. Eric Lundberg coming home in 16th, Jonas Larsson in 17th, Philip Carlson, Bjorn Broström, and Connie Lundell rounding out your top 20. Vilda Whalen, Dan Sollo, Kim Nyholm, Oscar Fredrickson, and Christian Gantz rounding out your top 25. Jason?
And 26th, Kenneth Tier, Anton Bratberg, 27th, Martin Liesnich in 28th, Emily Figueroa 29th, rounding out the top 30 is Marcus Stiller. And we have Daniel Holmer, Robert Erling, Michael Hagström, Haflidason Johansson, and Philip Björk to round out the top 35, and then 36th, Jonas Fors, and 37th, Michael Haflidason.
Michael Haflidason being the only retiree here tonight in this race. We'll take a look now at the sprint race results. Anton Bradberg coming away with the win there. I'm assuming Vilda Whalen received a black flag at the end of that because it's showing her down as the 16th place finisher. Philip York, Martin Liesnich, Connie Lundell, Robert Erling, your top 5. Haflidi Johansson, Marcus Stiller, Philip Carlin, Emily Fegrell, and Michael Hagstrom rounding out the top 10. Bjorn Broström, Daniel Holmer, Kenneth Tier, Daniel Blomqvist, Marcus Hagman, Vilda Whalen, and Johan Larsson rounding out your finishing order for the sprint race here to begin the night. So for my broadcast partners, Tony Trapasso and Jason Sawford, I am Frank Marchese. We will see you in 2 weeks. But when the Cup Series returns at the Charlotte Roval, just 3 races to go before the playoffs. Good night, everybody.